you have a business or you are an organizer and you have the biggest question of like, how do I get the media to see me, to tell my story, to bring me in studio, or to just come and film our event? You know, if I got $1 for every time someone asks me that, we're about to give you the gold right here. This is what you need to know. In order to get the media's attention, you have to work hand in hand with the media. And here's why. Because as you heard earlier, what our day is like, you're running nonstop 24/7. And we are already bombarded with thousands of emails. Many of them are literally email blasts with press releases the second you open them. So work with me, send a personal email, let me know that you see me and you see the work that I'm doing, and we can build a relationship. So the example I like to use, Sarah, I always think of Dedrick Russell. We worked with him at WBTV, but he was always on like the school beat, the education beat, anything that had to do with kids and the school systems, like he was always covering that. So if you maybe have a nonprofit, an academy, or you work in the education realm, you should know him personally. You should have already reached out to him and say, hey, Dedrick, I love the story that you did on XYZ. I'm, Jacinda, this is what I'm doing. I just want to stay in contact with you. Possibly even taking him to coffee sometimes isn't out of the question, but just building a relationship, because I think a lot of times in news, everyone is pulling on us left and right. I need you, I need you, I need you. And it's always pretty much going to be a no. But if you build that relationship, now, the next time you may have something going on, it's like, hey, Dedrick, just want to let you know I have XYZ coming up, and I think it would be a perfect story for you guys to cover because the community needs to know it because of XYZ. Now, you're helping me as a reporter in doing my day-to-day. And you heard us say earlier how we're always looking for stories.
I think that's the key.
You serve me a story now. We are best friends.
I think people don't realize, like, reporters need the stories. They need the content. I mean, they're trying to fill hours and hours and hours of news. And so if you have a great story, they're open to it, right? It's just all about that pitch. And so the pitch doesn't necessarily always have to be a press release. Press releases do serve a purpose. It's great. They're usually better for like bigger companies or, a press conference or something like that. But if you're just trying to get coverage on your business, send an email. Send an email and say, hey, here's I can come do a live segment on this, on my product, but it's got to be something that would make the audience care. I remember when we had morning meetings, people would always ask, well, why would they care? Why does the audience care? And so you got to step outside of your product and your, this is your baby or whatever, your organization or whatever you have, step outside of that and say, well, why would this benefit the audience? Let's say, it's somebody who, an attorney who does wills or trusts, and you want to get your business out there. Well, wills and trusts is a great topic because there's so many people who aren't prepared, right? So you could pitch and say, hey, I'd be happy to come on one of your shows and talk about why people should have a trust or will and what that would look like and what that takes. I'm happy to do a story or be an interview or an expert, whatever you need, but just make yourself available and get visible. This is the other thing. Like, I remember after I left TV news, and I was doing like kind of some coaching and some stuff like that. And I did a video where I was just talking in my car. It was dark, and I did the video, and I'm just like giving some little coaching advice. It was like a minute long, and I messed up in the video. And I messed up, I laughed, and I kept going. And the next day I had a DM, a message from the TV station. They're like, hey, would you want to come on and do a segment with us and do like some coaching segments? And I was like, okay, it had been a while since I'd been on television, and this was a different capacity, but it was all because I was visible. And I wasn't doing that very often, but the one time I did, and the one time I messed up and laughed it off, that's when they called.
See, so two things there. One is send the email, the email, build a relationship with someone, and be very simple in the email, yet effective. And what I mean is, when you heard Sarah say, why would they care? Be able to specify that in your email. What's the problem? The problem, if we're talking about wills and trusts and things like that, the problem is maybe there's been an increase in the death rate in your town in that area. And so you want to say, hey, I've noticed that numbers have increased by this percentage. Therefore, people aren't having these conversations. Or you can even say there's a different storyline. Funeral homes are, being left or XYZ. What's the problem, and how would bringing you on be the solution. Because as a reporter, like you're helping me by seeing the whole story versus just pitching your business, pitching your company, pitching your product. That's awesome. But do you know how many other people are doing that? And this is not just a sales thing where we're going to showcase your lotions. Like, we need to understand why. So why would our viewers want to hear that or want to see that? And a lot of times too, I think people are pitching, like I was doing weather at the time, and people would be pitching me, and that showed me that you had no idea what I do or what capacity I was working in. I had no leeway over anything that you're asking me to do. So when you truly know that this TV station focuses on XYZ, then you can really say my demographic of my business and my expertise would be perfect for your viewership because we're in alignment. Yeah. And then there was something else you said and I already forgot it like 2 seconds ago.
So did I. What was it?
You were talking about, making yourself visible, visible. The reason why that is so important is because if I now am reading your email, I see a couple bullet points that I like. I see, the story's starting to come alive. I see it. What's the next thing I'm going to do as a reporter? I'm going to go investigate the mess out of you. I need to go see who this person is, what the business is, and I'm going to look on every platform I can to find more information. And if I go looking and there's nothing there, I really cannot move forward. As credible as the email was and as much as I received it and want to do something with it, I need to be able to see that there's some type of following, some type of presence on some of these platforms where I can say, look, and this is the stuff that she or he is talking about on a consistent basis. Look at how he's giving information. Look at how he's speaking. I would love to have him on the show to talk about this.
Mm-hmm. People are always looking for, like I said, content. They're always looking for great content, people who have personality, people who have knowledge about a particular subject. So if you fit any of those, you're already halfway there.
You're already there.
You just got to put yourself out there and make the request and put that pitch in.
So last thing, she mentioned press releases earlier. I just want to throw this out there. A lot of times we spend a lot of time on putting together and curating this phenomenal press release. And I think I've probably deleted thousands and thousands and thousands of press releases without ever even opening it. And the reason why is because of the subject line. Your subject line is one of the most powerful things that you could curate, because that will let any of us know if we should even tap open on the email. If you are writing something, sometimes if I just see press release, I'm like, already done. But sometimes based on what you type there, if it has nothing to do with me or the beat that I'm on, like there's no reason for me to even waste my time in opening that. So your subject line is extremely important. And then the second piece, which goes in line with the email, as Sarah mentioned, keep your body of your email simple. When there's so much information, I mean, it'll say press release and all the contact at the top, and then it just goes on and on and on and on. Like, do you want to read that? Do you want to go through hundreds of those every single day? I don't think so. So why are we still doing and utilizing such an old school method to get information out? Tell me in just a couple sentences why I should have you on, why I should tell your story, what it means to viewers, what problem you're solving. Tell me that. And then if you want to attach a press release, or even at the bottom have all the links to more information, because we will do our due diligence and follow up on all those things before we pitch it in an editorial meeting. Before we circle back with you, we're going to research you. And so if you already have that stuff there, that's perfect. But to just throw everything at us when we're already extremely busy, it's typically not going to be successful.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is our 2 cents of how you get into the studio, how you get in front of the camera. But Sarah, once you get in front of the camera, that's a different story. So what do you do in front of the camera, and what do you say on the microphone? We are going to detail that and give you all the confidence you need in the next lesson.